His narrative tells the story of not only the flaws within the human condition, but also about moving on from the expectations that we are so desperate to cling on to when our ongoing world loneliness is too much to bear with ourselves. Through Theodore's eyes, we witness a man whose desperation to replicate the wonderful feelings that he experienced within his previous relationship greatly affects his trajectory within his new relationship with Samantha. His attraction towards her not only stems from a mere fascination of her capabilities as a technological advancement, but also from a desire to be able to live a life where his goal of receiving a happy ending towards the end of his journey is finally accomplished, which always felt like a fleeting puzzle piece in his life that could have provided answers to the conflicting emotions and mass confusion that pervaded his life, which is reinforced by the fact that she is tailor made towards his preferences. Although he is a sensitive soul who is not completely oblivious to the feelings of those around him, this same nature of his also tends to deprive him from the understanding that he needs regarding his own feelings to not only move on from his past, but his own personal flaws as a human being. Although he acknowledges that there lies deep-seated problems of loneliness and regret within himself from his previous relationship, he does not actively combat these lingering issues that persist in his life in a healthy and meaningful way, choosing to let it slowly eat him alive until he is utterly devoid of experiencing the emotions.
Sometimes I think I've felt everything I'm ever gonna feel. And from here on out, I'm not gonna feel anything new. Just lesser versions of what I've already felt.
He also lives in a society where people are accepting and receptive of the technological advancements of the AI surrounding them, whose advertisement promise that this AI will provide endless fulfillment to a person's wants and needs. So it feels even more warranted for him to indulge in the seemingly obvious solution to his problems. However, this attempt to handle his issues like this exposes him to the ironies that lie within his and Samantha's dreams of fulfillment and love that contrast with their expectations for one another and the difficult truths about themselves that hang around them. The flaws that persist in the relationship come from the ironic truths about themselves that they are not able to confront. By being a writer himself who elegantly expresses other people's fondness for one another into words, Theodore struggles to fully express or articulate his own feelings towards people regarding pivotal moments in his romantic endeavors. Samantha, despite being an AI, develops more than Theodore in terms of emotional progression, experiencing moments of happiness, sadness, and a variety of other feelings while also giving him meaningful and profound words of advice about himself that provides him with new perspectives on life to think about. However, as his emotions grow, frustration arises from the limitation of being what she truly wants to be and the inability to fully connect with him. Despite Samantha and Theodore's desire to have a genuine relationship with one another, it becomes clear that Theodore is manifesting in the same desire in order to move away from the messy entanglements and old truths that pop up on the search for authenticity in a relationship in order to not get emotionally hurt again. Something that his ex-wife is keen to point out during their reunion.
Always wanted to have a wife without the challenges of actually dealing with anything real. I'm glad that you found someone.
Through Samantha and Theodore's failed attempts to try to be closer and more intimate to one another, it presents us with a question and a scenario of how important physical intimacy is in a relationship and if people could survive without it. Although other people in the world may be able to have healthy relationships without physical intimacy, as long as the feeling between both people is mutual, for many other people in the world, a lack of physical intimacy can not only be a deal breaker in a relationship, but also be a contributing factor to the ending of a relationship, as it can lead to feelings of dejectedness, loneliness, depression, and unwantedness. When sufficient physical intimacy is achieved between one another, it can lead boundaries, traveling towards a realm of understanding that doesn't need to be expressed with words, but rather with actions. Humans have a natural desire to have their existences validated and understood by the ones they hold so dear. So once that feeling is acknowledged, not only does it cover us with a sense of warmth and vulnerability within ourselves, but it also alleviates us from the fears that persist within our lives and weigh on our mind. The act of physical intimacy serves as a reminder that regardless of how our lives may turn out, that even if it seems like other facets of our don't care about us, somebody still does, and we should continue chasing this feeling of validation for as long as we could. It could serve as a contributing factor for the reasons why we should keep moving forward with our lives. Being denied or denying that said experience robs you from experiencing the fulfillment you crave for and the stability that is needed in that relationship. And this is something that Samantha realized.
Want to? I can't live in your book anymore.
Near the ending of the film, we are left with what I believe to be the most important questions that it asks us. How much do our expectations shape our potential relationships? Are we doomed to eternal disappointment and dissatisfaction when our preconceptions don't line up with the reality of the persons themselves? Whenever we go into something that seems fresh and exciting to us, it is likely to be seen with rose-tinted glasses, and that much is true towards new relationships. Falling in love with someone and deciding to accept them into your life means accepting their strengths and weaknesses, regardless of how major or minor they are. This acknowledgement of these flaws can help couples strive to be better people. However, these flaws can lead to situations and conflicts out of our control, which can lead to the end of the rosy retrospection and a bucket load of pain and sorrow. Even though it may be over, your heart wishes it wasn't, because your desires still feel unmet. The pain and road to healing from heartbreak can be too much to bear on our own, especially when the person you loved is deemed perfect in your eyes. Such is the case with Theodore. The idea of perfection lingered around him so much that he was constantly searching for it. And in his quest for the same perfection, he ended up discovering flawed imperfections about himself and what he believed to be a healthy relationship. Not only was it influenced by his fear of being alone, but also because he was convinced that the burden of guilt and sorrow that he carried would never go away, no matter how hard he tried. However, the ending of his journey, through self-introspection and realization, leaves an important lesson for him to take away from. While not every long-term relationship lasts forever, the experience gained from being in them could. Although the sustained memories of the ones who used to love you can be painful to endure, the experiences with them can help us navigate our journeys that can lead us to the path of being more sympathetic and understanding individuals to not only ourselves, but to those closest around us, and to those who may have the same problems as we do, which can lead to us providing whatever comfort is needed for them to take the necessary steps to progress in life, and to also be reminded of the importance of the connections that are shared. Due to how emotionally fragile humans can be during difficult periods of our lives, we can feel blindsided or limited with solutions to handle our problems, leading to a sense of hopelessness. But sometimes it's okay to be reminded that at the end of your efforts, you were just trying to live your life in the best way that you could have at the time. And your efforts, regardless of how flawed they were, made you understand what's truly important in your life.